A big question going on now in Game of Thrones season 7 is that what is going on with Sansa Stark? She is very different and is acting very different. Where do her allegiances lie and what is she doing? So we have in episode 2 of season 7, Sansa has, we noticed this in episode 1 too, is that her look kind of is different than it may have been in recent times. Like at the end of season 6, we saw her with the large Stark furs.
Right.
And now she's changed yet again.
Yeah.
In the first episode, she had Cersei's hairstyle. Second episode, she brought back her ring with the spike necklace, which is from Dark Sansa in season 4.
Right.
She always seems to reflect the people around her. Like we've seen her reflect Cersei, Margaery, Littlefinger, Jon. It's interesting that the costume choices of this character can reflect so much about her.
You know, Arya, in contrast, was always standing out. And starting with season 1, episode 1, Arya was the person who stood out. Whereas Sansa was sort of following a role that had been assigned to her and that she thought was proper and everything. She had this idea of the fairy tale princess and I'm gonna meet my handsome blonde king and da-da-da-da.
And that didn't work.
And it didn't work, but and as she's been learning, as she's progressing, like for the first couple seasons, we still saw she was looking for someone to tell her what to do and how to fix this or where to go that would be safe. And she's realized now that she has to protect herself, she has to look out for herself. Everyone's either betrayed or failed her. But I think part of it is still she's looking at how to be strong by emulating where she sees strength and not yet forming a full identity of herself.
It concerns me that she's internalizing Cersei though, because Cersei is a violent person, a vengeful person.
Yeah, but Cersei gets stuff done. And that's, I think, the lesson which is, Jon Snow points out, you sound like you admire her. It doesn't surprise me that a part of her does, because while she recognizes this is evil and we should kill her because of everything she could and will do, there's a part of her that's like, but she was winning, right? I haven't won, I don't have that power. Dad didn't win, mom didn't win. And so I think she's just like, part of the idea of what Cersei's doing keeps Cersei safe so far. I think that's what she.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Absolutely, especially in the last season. But it makes sense to me, and it's honestly something you see with certain abusive relationships of trying to adapt, unfortunately, the bad qualities of those who you see as survivors.
Worryingly, I feel like she is adapting Littlefinger a bit, but I'm not clear where it is because it's clear that she's annoyed with him. She knows what he wants, as she said. You know, she's cut him off. I'm sure you had something clever. You can't have the end of this. Blah blah blah.
Which their interaction has become really entertaining and really brilliant.
It's gross to me, and I'm glad that Jon said, "Stay away from my sister." Basically.
Oh, tremendously. No, tremendously. It's like I just love how much of the power is now in Sansa in their interactions.
Right.
Like she's just onto him.
Well, speaking from the meta, Sophie Turner has said that Sansa is now a big manipulator, as big as Littlefinger, and she's gonna do things that you're not going to like this season, which, you know, now that she's in charge of Winterfell with Jon out going to Dragonstone, it worries me a little bit about what she's going to do, if she's going to do something that I won't like.
Yeah, and also that again shows the contrast between them. I mean, Jon, while Sansa has adopted Cersei's hairstyle and Littlefinger's aesthetics, Jon is looking like Ned Stark down to even his hairstyle. And unfortunately seems to be, as Sansa warns him, making some of the same mistakes. Like he sort of views, well, this is family, and so I trust, period. In the same way, like, well, Tyrion was nice to me, and so I trust him, and Sam is my boy, so I trust him. And you understand all of that, but it could leave him open to the same manipulations, whereas Sansa has learned very different lessons in her life.
I wonder if it's like turning that expectation on its head a little bit, because the audience is also experienced with Tyrion and experienced with Sam. And I think Sam is definitely trustworthy and Tyrion is probably trustworthy.
And we know that. We know that because we're basically omniscient and we see all the things happening across the board. We see who's lying and who's not. I mean, in Jon and Sansa's life, like you can see the differences of how they're approaching situations. And the fact that he knows Sansa has had different experiences now and is a different person and is maybe not happy with some of the decisions he's making. He knows that logically, but still it's like, but this is still my sister and we're still, Ned Stark's kids, and so I know that I can trust her. And the fact that it'll be interesting to see just how much he is right or wrong in that, and how much Sansa might be justified in what she's gonna do next.
Right. I do think there is one ray of hope for Sansa. And that ray of hope is a little killer named Arya. There have been some clues alluded to this where she said later, no one can protect me, no one can protect anyone. And then we have Arya being called no one, literally. So perhaps that will become less figurative in the future as she heads over to Winterfell. Sansa and Arya haven't seen each other since season 1.
Yeah.
And they didn't really get along, but I think that Jon's idea of family over everything might supersede that. I think seeing each other again will help the sisters.
And it'll be interesting to see because they are both so different, and they've both taken different lessons in life, but they've also both taken very dark lessons in life. They are both on the side of basically trust no one, except Arya seems to be trust no one except family.
Yeah.
And Sansa's like, watch your family too.
No one.
Yeah, and they are both killers now, but Arya has like a very specific list of, these are people who have wronged me and I'm taking them out. And Sansa watched for a little bit and it was justified, but watched her attacker get eaten by dogs.
Yeah.
And it's the differences of who they were before. It's gonna be really interesting.
I think they've both participated in brutality.
Sure.
Like massive brutality.
Sure. Sansa just, I think Arya is a little colder about it. And which is not a judgment on the character between either of them of which is better. It's just an interesting contrast to me. And so I'll be interested to see how much they might admire or be disappointed in each other.
Arya's had a couple good days lately. She found her friend Hot Pie. She had a nice hot pie. She learned her family's alive.
Yeah.
She took some lessons from the Lannister knights or warriors that maybe not everyone should be killed.
Yeah.
I think it could be a positive thing. Do you though, audience? Please let us know below. Please like and subscribe for more.